Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Mitch.
How does one go about knowing how to best serve mankind?
Uh, Look, the how do you and how does one kind of questions have a very basic and simple answer. When you in yourself have grown to the place where you're ready to do that, you will organically do it. You have no choice in the matter. It's your commitment to a higher energy, God, whatever you want to call it. It's your commitment to yourself. Your chemistry has arrived at a place where you just organically do it. And there's no question like, how do I arrive there? You have built an inner life that is simply strong enough, that it's evolved enough, that has overcome a lot of fear and insecurity, and you wind up just doing that. But you don't serve them in a philanthropic type of way. You serve them with unconditional love in an unconditional way. You serve them, where the rewards for service in the world is your growth inside yourself, your connection with God, your openness, the love that's inside you. Those are the rewards of doing that kind of service. Philanthropic rewards, they build a museum with their name on it and they think that's going to be for eternity. I mean, that's all nonsense, That's self-aggrandizement. So there's no how do you know, you just grow to where you just organically do this. I mean, I never know about any of these answers when it comes to myself. I just find myself doing things that truly are in service of humanity, of higher energy, because it's just part of my chemistry now. And then you don't have to know, you just do. With love, unconditional love. You do it with your family, you do it with your friends, and yeah, there's going to be feedback and flack, and you think you're a goody goody and blah, blah. It's not your problem, it's their problem. It's their problem, because what you do is being done unconditionally, and it's being done in the service of a higher force in the universe. And if people don't like it, it just reflects them. It has nothing to do with you. And that really is, a very incredible state of inner being. It's beyond I want, I demand, this is what I want in my life and I'm going to get it. It's really serving the most powerful force there is to serve on the earth, and that's higher energy in the universe, God. Because whatever exists on this planet is a manifestation of that energy. And then, as I've said many times, it comes to us in a very pure state. There's no right or wrong, good and evil, it just comes. And we, as human beings, I hate to say this, we're so twisted inside that it comes into us as a pure state and goes into the world as something crazy. Because it flows through us, and that's the height of the development of our inner life. Anger and upset and victim and blah, 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 all that stuff. So what we want to do is to build an inner life that is strong enough to where when that energy flows into us, it comes out as love. It comes out as, compassion, empathy, But that is our responsibility. We're born that way. We're born these innocent little creatures coming to the world so full of love and so full of innocence. And then through years of being trained by the world around us, everything gets twisted inside. So when that higher energy comes into us, it flows out as unhappiness, as anger, as fear, because that's what exists inside us.
It's 2 o'clock.
So there's no knowing, you just evolve and it just happens. It just happens because your inner life has evolved to the place where you can serve God, higher energy, whatever, unconditionally. It's like people have, how do you know when you're enlightened? I hear this all the time. And I always laugh because enlightened people don't know they're enlightened. They just live that way. They just live on that plane of existence. And generally, it's over time of evolving and growing and building a system that enables them to do it. But they don't walk around talking about how enlightened they are. It's all in our activity, how we interact with life. And that's where karma comes in. And that's how karma is worked out in the world. The energy enters us pure and it goes into the world in a pure state. Yeah, but you look at great beings like the Buddha, like Christ, like, what they had to go through to get to that state is mind-boggling. Fasting in the desert, wandering the earth. I mean, just unbelievable things they went through. And Moses, another one, what he went through, I mean, every one of those stories is the story of surrender, transformation, change. Does anyone else have a question you'd like to ask?
Stuart, can you talk to me a little bit about how I can utilize surrender to better handle my emotions about the state of the world?
In a pretty crummy state, isn't it? But look, you want to be honest with you? Should I tell you an honest answer? I'll give you an honest answer. Look, you're using the bullshit that goes on in the world as a reason to defeat yourself. If you need a reason to be upset, it's the Ukraine right now. It's Sudan, it's the hunger of people. If you need it, it's always there. To completely tear yourself apart and get yourself full of anger and angst about how terrible the world is. You understand? I mean, the whole purpose of doing inner work is to build a strength in yourself where you can literally detach yourself from all of this stuff going on in the world. At the same time, you're connected to spirit, you're growing, and you can nurture the people that you can nurture. I mean, I can't do anything about Vladimir Putin. You understand? It's beyond my, what am I going to do? Give him a Kundalini yoga class? Try to change him? It's insane. But I can help every person who's sitting here. That is more immediate for me. It's more profound for me. I mean, look, there's a thing in the Jewish religion. If you save one human being's life in your lifetime, the gates of heaven open up to you. So I can't deal with these people. I see those people and I'm just infinitely grateful that I don't have to be in the world that they've created. And I'm not going to allow the madness that goes on in that world to ever interfere with my connection with God. And in order to keep it from interfering with my connection, I've got to get very strong inside. I have to build an incredibly powerful chakra system because that stuff just creeps up on you, It's in the newspapers, it's in the media, it's, everywhere you look. It's all they talk about is the madness in the world. So if you need a reason to get upset on any given day, there's there. But if you say, look, I am not going to allow this stuff to crawl into my well-being and destroy my life, but I'm going to grow. I mean, for God's sake, there are people that went through concentration camps and came out of that like saints. So it's how you approach it and what you want to interfere with your well-being. And if you want anything to interfere with your well-being, it will be provided for you. It's there. And you don't have to look very far to see it. And yeah, it's crazy. It's wrong. Why kill people unnecessarily? It's so stupid, But at the same time, as I've said 100 times already, I can't remember a day in my life where that kind of insanity hasn't been going on somewhere in the world. Not one day in my life. And years ago, I used to protest and scream and yell and argue and, and then I realized, Stuart, what are you going to do? Build yourself, grow inside yourself, get stronger than that. Look, it's just, in one of my books, I talk about all that drama being like a fart in a hurricane. It has a terrible smell and the wind just blows it away. And then there's the next one and the next one. And it's all transitory, but it's always there. And I think it's always there as a test of whether or not people can truly build inner lives that are strong enough to change it. But if people don't work on themselves, it's going to go on, it goes on forever. Because all of that insanity is a reflection of the insanity that's inside human beings. That's really what it's about. And nobody ever learns. For God's sake, we had the Vietnam War. You'd think after 400,000 young people got killed, somebody would learn something. No, they never learn because they don't do any inner work. They don't change inside themselves. So instead of using that as a way of disrupting yourself, let it be a reminder that you got to get stronger. You have to grow. You have to change. And then you, through growing and changing, can do what I was talking to Manchi about. Your service can help other human beings. You can bring kindness to the world, love to the world. Because that other thing is never going to change. It hasn't changed in my lifetime. I used to be a big history buff when I was in college, and that's all you read about from the beginning of time to the present, wars. That's all you study in history, one war following the other.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, it's the same thing in Israel, for God's sake. If people would just build inner lives, all that madness would go away. I really mean it, but they don't. So everybody's in their head and everybody knows what's right and what did and how it should be. And people are endlessly fighting with each other. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just a reflection of the human condition. And then there's all that useless suffering. People just suffer for no reason, other than they don't change and so. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I remember when last time I was in Israel, I'll never forget this. I talk about this a lot, but it's just extraordinary. I was there during that war in southern Lebanon with Hezbollah. And I'll never forget, I was staying at Ellie's house. And I said to Ellie, my God, Jerusalem's got to be the most peaceful place I've ever been. And remember, I used to talk about that, Ellie. And 100 miles away, people are fighting and killing each other. We went to Arab restaurants. We're welcome like family there, you know? We went to Palestinian restaurants. And everybody else. Meanwhile, 100 miles away, these people are killing each other. I mean, I'll never forget that. It was one of the great experiences of my life to be in Jerusalem while the war was going on. And to never feel for it. Like Ellie said, if you turn on CNN, you'll know we're at war. If you don't turn on CNN, life was as calm and as peaceful as any. I mean, New York City was more crazy than Jerusalem. I mean, it inspired me to write a book called Light in Jerusalem. That experience was so profound. Anyway, does anyone else have a question you would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, there'll be meditation on Tuesday. And bless you all. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having the presence here and demanding that I really work hard on myself. So God bless you all and thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on Tuesday. Bless
Thank you.
you. You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too.